And we have no other person than one who knows how to do what he knows how to do best, a veteran in the sporting world. We've got Calvin Onwuka, all the way from the United States. Thank you so much, Calvin, for joining us on the show.
Thank you very much.
It's great to have you. I remember behind camera, I kept teasing you. Old wine, you get sweeter by the day. Do not want to age at all. But it's great you're aging gracefully. It's great to have you right now. Happy New Year to you, because I've not had a conversation with you this year.
Happy New Year to you.
All right, it's all about, yes, of course, all about the draws. We cannot wait to see where the Super Eagles of Nigeria will be pitted in the draws. As we have it, we're in Port 1, and we've got 5 other teams, if I'm correct, 5 other teams who have been pitted in Port 1. This is an expanded format of the African Cup of Nations. So now that we're in Port 1, yes, you can see we share the same port with Morocco, the host nation, Senegal, Egypt, Algeria, and Cote d'Ivoire, the defending champions. Just looking at the sport, what would be your review of the sport, Calvin?
We've ended this sport because of the final that we got to last time around. So we'll end that sport. Whatever happens from here onwards is not what you earn. It becomes the luck of the draws. I always used to say something about tournaments, that the luck of the draws eventually play a big part in who wins a tournament like the Afcon, like the FIFA World Cup, like the Euros. So what we're hoping now is we're going to avoid the big hitters that are in the same pot with us. Like we've said there, we're going to avoid Senegal, we're going to avoid Egypt, we're going to avoid Algeria, we're going to avoid defending champions, Cote d'Ivoire. Now, from that point onwards, all bets are off. We can get anybody. We can get Cameroon. We can get South Africa. We can get Gabon. We can get, but any other person in Port 4 is fine. What I meant by the luck of the draws include, it's not just from this your first round group. It now becomes, the pathway that goes, if you top the group or if you finish runners up, the people you play and who you play after and who you play after. These are the things that eventually play a big part in getting to the final and winning the tournament. So truly, you just have to pray that you get good draws, and then your pathway is slightly lighter than other ways to get to that final. So that's what we can hope for at the moment.
All right, I'm very sure that, I'm sorry to butt in, I'm very sure that Nigerians are praying, crossing their fingers. I'm crossing my fingers. I think I'm keeping prayer aside, but I'm crossing my fingers to know who we're going to be pitted against for our group for the African Cup of Nations. But you mentioned that Port 2, there's a likelihood we get to be pitted with Cameroon. But looking at that port, who do you think possesses that biggest challenge for Nigeria? Is Cameroon still a very fierce rival for us?
You see, this is what happens in Afcon tournament. No matter how bad Cameroon play, when they're going to play against Super Eagles, they would rise to the occasion. If we get South Africa have been shaking fifth Nigeria for a long time now. So if we get South Africa, they're going to be riled up for that game. And then should we get Mali, the man that took them to the last Afcon,
he's our coach.
Will take Nigeria.
Yes,
he's our coach. So you see, there are too many things in that pot 2 that will come up, will give us how do I put it? Will give us good games. Will give us good games. So it's not just Cameroon, it's South Africa, it's also Mali.
All right.
I think.
Okay, let me bring in Bemi Dekpo right now. Of course, I heard that he has reconnected with us, but we're still talking the African Cup of Nations draws, knowing that Nigeria is in pot one, sharing that same pot with the defending champions and also the host nation. But that does not mean that we'll meet any of them in the groupings of the African Cup of Nations. We still have Calvin, a veteran journalist, joining us from UK. Calvin, when it comes to the Super Eagles of Nigeria, it's undeniable that they are very consistent on the African stage, especially when they go to the African Cup of Nations like that. But what's your take on their chances for the 2025 edition? Do you see hope? Or do you think that we are in for another trouble?
You know what? I have believed for a long time that the Super Eagles, we have not done as well as we should. 3 Afcon titles since 1976 is dreadful returns. We've lost too many finals. They really annoy me, the number of finals we've lost. And I think that we need to win. We need to win. There's a generation of Super Eagles. The lads who played for us between 2004 and 2010, they let the country down a lot. They let us down. That generation, I told one of them, Lofinjana, I told him once that your generation let Nigeria down in not winning at least one Afcon title. Because we had a group that were playing for top clubs in Europe at the time and the top leagues. But every time they came to the Afcon, they didn't even make one final. They didn't even make one final. The best they were doing were getting bronze medals. And I thought that generation let us down. So going into this Afcon, every Afcon that we go into, personally, I always say this: I expect us to win.
Okay.
I expect Nigeria to win, and this Afcon is no different. I expect us to win.
Okay. I'm also very hopeful that the Super Eagles of Nigeria can do that. All right, we have Bemi Dekpo joining us here. Bemi Dekpo, I've been able to sample opinions from veteran Calvin Onwuka about the ports and where Nigeria can be pitted to the African Cup of Nations, Morocco 2025. Bemi Dekpo, you know that there's history when it comes to clashes with teams like Tunisia and South Africa for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. How do you see those potential matchups playing out in the draws today for Nigeria? Bemi Dekpo, can you hear me? All right, we'll see how you can get that audio fixed. Calvin, still with me. It's great. I'm grateful that you're here with me. Looking at some potential matchups for teams that we have a very deep rivalry with, Tunisia and South Africa. You mentioned earlier, South Africa is one team that when they play Nigeria, they have all their muscles up. So is there a possibility, is there a potential that we can have that matchup play out in the draws today and have Nigeria pitted against them?
Yeah. Especially because we're in pot 2. If you could put up that
okay.
graphic of
Let me have my producer give us the port.
I would not be surprised if we get one of South Africa, Cameroon, or Mali. I really do think Mali will be the one that would actually be very, very funny if we get them.
Yeah.
Because of our new coach.
Yes, indeed.
So if I was speaking, it will be Nigeria, it will be Mali, it will be Uganda, and then it will be Mozambique. If I was choosing, that will be fine. But like I said, it's a matter of draws. But I would really love if we get Mali, so that we'll see how the Malians would play against us with their Malian with their fellow countryman in charge of the Super Eagles.
All right, Calvin, Mali, DR Congo, and Burkina Faso, by my reckon, would say that they are considered as soft options for us. I'm hoping that they are still soft options for us. But with the Malian coach, as we have been talking about since the beginning of this conversation, do you think that can change for the Super Eagles? That dynamic can change?
He's coached a lot of these players who will be coming to the tournament, depending on fitness and all of that, because the tournament is still far away to the end of the year. He would know what they know. He would know their strengths. So he should be in a position to give us an easy win, actually, because he will know them very well, and he will know the best tactics to use against them. Listen, we have so many good players. I kid you not. We have so many good players that I don't even care who we have in our group. Sincerely, that's how confident I am in the quality of the footballers that we have playing for Nigeria, which is why I said earlier, going into this tournament, as I said, going into the one earlier last year, that we have the players. We really have the players to win Afcon. And we should always go into Afcon with the determination, with the belief that we were going to win it.
All right, let's quickly look at Pot 4. Pot 4 has got the likes of Botswana, Comoros, I know of Zimbabwe in that pot, and it's going to be a tricky one. But with the fact that Zimbabwe, they're part of the teams in our 2026 World Cup qualifiers, if we get this draw and we have them pitted against us, is this going to be a soft pedal for us going into the qualifiers of the World Cup? Do you think we should have Zimbabwe in our team?
By the time Afcon takes place in December, the World Cup qualifiers will be over. The World Cup qualifiers are usually should be over by October or November, I don't recall correctly. So it doesn't really matter now if we get them and all of that with regards to the World Cup. But again, this is what I'm saying. This is Nigeria we're talking about. This is the Super Eagles we're talking about. Why should we be worried about Zimbabwe? There's probably no reason why we should be worried about Zimbabwe. I'm serious. So nobody from that pot 4, no team in that pot 4
should shake us.
Yes.
Indeed.
Nobody in that pot 4.
So what would be your ideal group draw for Nigeria, for the Super Eagles of Nigeria? What's the best case scenario? What do you think, or who do you think will be pitted in our group?
Okay, give me the graphic again. I've said that before.
All right, let's have the graphics.
Like I said, I would really love to have Mali just because of the coach. And then, imagine if we have Benin Republic with Raw. Yeah, why not? Give us Benin Republic with Raw, and then give us Zimbabwe. I'll be brilliant. But I don't think we'll be able to do that because Mali is West Africa, Benin Republic is West Africa. So maybe not. If we get Mali, then we'll probably get Zambia, and then maybe Mozambique. That's what I think. So yeah, Mali, Zambia, and Mozambique.
All right, I'll wait and see. I'll wait and see. The draws will take place, of course, in the evening today, and all our hopes, all the whole permutation predictions, we'll see it come to play if they would be or not be. All right, thank you so much, veteran. Thank you, Calvin Onwuka. He's a veteran journalist joining us all the way from the United Kingdom. Thank you so much for doing this breakdown with us ahead of the Afcon draws. Do have a pleasant day.